Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You are listening to Voice of the Fans Sportscast, brought to you by none other than the voices of the fans. Discussing football, basketball, news, trending topics. The one-stop shop for all things sports. Voice of the Fans Sportscast. Hosted by none other than Ben Swift Reynolds, Taylor Gatwood, and Tyler Wright. Voice of the Fans Sportscast. Voice of the Fans Sportscast. Voice of the Fans Sportscast.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Voice of Fans Sportscast. I'm your host, Ben Reynolds. We have a special guest with us. He coming back for a second time. That's Coach Aaron Pridmore.
What's up, guys?
Coach,
Thank you guys for having me back.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. Since we did last year, you just stayed on our mind. RC, he praised you for what you're doing over on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, we gotta bring him back for a formal interview because it was more like a guest show for you, appearing on our show. So we were man, you know what? Let's bring him back for an interview. And so
I appreciate it very much. So
yes,
thank you guys.
We happy to have you on. And of course, we have Gatwood. He's here when he's not on vacation.
what's going on?
And of course, as always, the one and only Professor Flowers.
Gentlemen.
So, Coach AP, man, you had a good Christmas and New Year?
We did. Santa Claus was good to us, and came into the new year with family and my kids, and so far healthy, and great Christmas. My birthday falls on Christmas, so
how
yeah,
that works.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you. Well, I've dealt with it for now 45 years. So, but no, I mean, another year passed on the calendar, and every year just gets a little bit faster. So,
got that right. Yeah, it seems like the years just fly by now. Like, slow down, I'm getting old. I
know it.
Be having it. On jump.
That's what I tell my kids. That's the only difference is when you get older, it just goes faster.
Yes, it does.
Likewise, I'm still trying to do young man things, jumping out of trucks, wrestling my son. Let me tell you something, man. So my son, he grew a couple inches, so he's taller than me now. So he like, oh, I can take you now. I can take you. So he tried to boat up on me. I said, let's go then. So we wrestle. And of course, I'm the man in the house. I got to show my dominance. I got to keep my title. You ain't there yet. And so meanwhile, while I'm beating him, I just pull my back.
See? You can't do it.
Your legs. You gotta look at them legs, man. Can't look at that
I know, man. I know. And I was like looking for me. He was like, man, I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, me too. I told my wife, I hurt myself. Now I lay down in the bed.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him though.
Yeah, don't tell him.
No, definitely don't tell him.
So I was very happy when you said he was tired. I'm like, yeah.
Dude, that's how I am on baseball fields, dude. I push those kids and I run out there and do some of the stuff I do, and then I get back in the truck and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pay for every bit of that. So.
I know. I keep telling my wife, I said, we need to put some money into a jacuzzi or hot tub or something. Cause I feel like I'll be in that things after a workout or after a long day, just sipping on my coffee in the hot tub. But anyway, let's go and dive into it. Coach AP, tell us more about the S.L.I.D.E podcast and what you're doing with it now.
Well, I mean, we talked a little bit about it last time, but we created the show. Our first episode, I think, came out in April of last year, and now we've just passed. Tonight we hit 31 episodes.
Okay.
So
awesome.
I'm gonna tell you, it's been a challenge learning this whole world because I just thought it was easy as click and record and as a podcast. But
Oh yeah.
but no, we started with the idea of making baseball fun again for kids, and it's a cliche term, of course, we've all heard, but like it's really, you know, there's so much negativity in the world, and
Right.
there's so many kids out there that deserve attention, need the attention, need the support, and so you know, I see kids like that all the time in my community, and I'm sure you guys do too as well. And so
Yes, sir.
I was like, I got to figure out a platform to celebrate these kids a little bit and to give them a stage. And lo and behold, that's where the slide came from. And it's a struggle, it's a hustle. Like my wife makes fun of me because I say I have to hustle every day. And,
Yeah.
it is, and we've been like blessed with some amazing guests. You know, amazing contacts that we're making in the baseball world and sports in general. And it's just amazing how social media connects us all the way it does. I mean, there's negatives to it, but there's so many positives. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned that you started a podcast for the youth, for the kids and everything, and I didn't know until I started looking more at your content that you did softball too.
we do some. So we cater mostly to youth baseball, and we started in that one just because that's what I know best. And but then after I started really digging around the the country, softball is its own beast, and so my goal
Oh
is
yeah.
my goal is the slide is the first of many. So I want to show for softball. I want to show for flag football, tackle. I really want to just like, to me, the country needs something like that to where like we can turn something. It's almost like if you've been into a bar, a sports bar, and you've watched the Chive play. They always got these funny clips. But let's put kids on stage. I'm starting to recruit kids out there to give us MLB updates on the show. It's a baseball podcast I run, but I couldn't tell you the first thing. Well, I mean, I could tell you a little bit about MLB, but not to the extent some of these kids can. So it's really, I want kids out there that, helps give us content and gives them a platform, because, I mean, there's some great things that can happen for those kids.
Exactly. You're doing a great thing there, giving the kids tools, to go out there and talk about the game they love. Because I know we were growing up, we didn't have a platform. I don't remember y'all remember that Nickelodeon kid sports, like what was it called, Gust or Guts or something like that.
I don't even remember.
Wild Crazy Kids.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So that was like the first. You always wanted to be on that. You're like, man, I want to be on Nickelodeon so they can see me playing sports and deal with slime and stuff. And it kind of reminded me of what you doing. It just kind of brought me back to that whole experience with Nickelodeon. Now you putting the kids that play sports at the front stage and allowing them to showcase and talk about the game they love. Yeah, and that's awesome.
There's so much pressure in youth sports, and I'm sure, I mean, you guys have kids. I know, Ben, you've got kids, and it's so easy for that pressure just to build on that kid. And like we don't know what's going on in those kids' little minds. There's so much. I mean, what happened at school today, who knows? And I honestly, I just, there's kids that we've had on the show that will definitely not be in the MLB, that don't want to be in the MLB. They just play baseball because it's fun. And that's really what our message is, baseball is a game of failure and life is a game of failure. And so like being able to rebound, and like, I just really want to help this next generation be confident, be self-aware, and just try to prepare them, because this world is a lot different than when we grew up.
So when you started the S.L.I.D.E podcast, did you ever see going in this direction? Did you have like a set plan or goal in mind, or you were just like, I want to just go out there and just see what sticks?
No, I'm a big dreamer. So from day one, I had this goal of creating a youth sports network. And that's really, even so, I've made notes throughout the process. I write notes and ideas, and like that's in some of my early notes. And but no, I honestly, my biggest challenge was figuring out social media because, man, I'm 45.
You ain't the only one. I'm getting whooped in the game, coach. I'm getting whooped, man. I'm watching everybody video like, how they do that? Like, hold up. So I know I try and go do some research and try and make it more lively. But yeah, I know I'm behind in the scale with the whole content and everything.
That's the challenge. I mean, like TikTok is, where everything's moving towards, and
Yes,
man, I can't figure that one out. Like I just can't figure that one out.
Well, you know they say, coach, I started posting on TikTok. They said it's booming right now. So the more you post on TikTok, the better. So I actually started posting on there just to see what happens. And I saw some pretty good numbers and outcome from it. So TikTok might be the way to go now.
It definitely is. I mean, and it's solely built really for content creators. So and that's in this journey of podcast is all these different platforms and which age group you're going to find in a platform. And because Facebook is, for us, Facebook is the parents.
yes,
And Instagram, surprisingly enough, is for the younger kids. Twitter is for the older kids, and TikTok's for everybody. So it's been a journey.
So when you put in your how do you come across the kids to interview? Like, what's the whole process? How you approach?
How do you find them?
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Well, I mean, it's reading, it's research, and that's the long hours that it takes. It takes us an hour to record an interview, but there's no telling the amount of work that's went in the background of communicating with parents. Because obviously you don't schedule an interview without parents. But it's a challenge. I mean, sometimes, things go viral. We had a kid on the show mid last year, Felix, the home run kid. And he actually ended up, the day he interviewed with us, he had done an interview for NBC and I want to say like CBS before us. And his story was, he hit his first home run ball, or he hit his first home run, and he took that ball and gave it to his grandfather, who basically inspired him to play the game. And it was like super emotional. Like his mom filmed the whole video, and they both just break down in tears, and I got cold chills just thinking about it. But so like I'm like the media frenzy, right? So I see this story, I go track down mom, and surprise, thankfully enough, she was phenomenal. And, we had him on, and, as of right now, he says our interview was the best out of all the others, including the big networks. So I'll take that. So.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Hearing stories like that, I know there's tons of stories out there, especially from kids playing sports, getting the opportunity to share their story to inspire others. That's huge. When you see somebody your age doing what you love to do also, it makes you want to grind even more and just enjoy the game. Because I know when I was a kid, I kind of took things for granted, playing the sport. And now I'm older, I look back like, man, I wish I had just done things a little bit differently.
I do
so, allowing kids. Yeah, go ahead, Flowers.
I got a question, Coach A.
Yeah.
Well, I got a couple of questions. First of all, did you play youth baseball when you were younger? I'm quite sure you did.
I did. I grew up small town, like small town. We had 2 red lights, and like we honestly, we had the worst team possible in Little League. I don't think we ever won a game. And I remember that, but I remember those individuals I played with the most, though. So we were small town, but baseball shaped my life.
Okay. Yeah, Coach AP Gatwood played baseball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played in high school and in college.
Sweet. What college?
Okay.
I played at Jones Junior College and then William Carey in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Awesome. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome, Gat. What position did you play?
I was a pitcher.
Yeah, I couldn't pitch.
If there's one regret that I have is that I didn't play baseball when I was younger. I loved baseball when I was younger. I loved it, but I didn't get the chance to play it.
You know, that's the thing that's kids are robbed of these days. And if you look around, and this is something we're working on for our next TikTok video, is we're going to tell the story, or try to, of, you know, our community over the last 5 years, we've doubled in size, and more housing developments are being built. And hell, we've got baseball fields that are getting sold. So more houses are being put in place. And so the things that we grew up, like you said, Ben, is taken for granted. Like we could just go out to a field and play when we wanted to. Now fields are locked. There's padlocks on all the gates. You can't get into a field and practice unless you pay in reserve. And like, man, that was my childhood, hanging out on the fields, and, you know, honestly doing sometimes things we were supposed to do, but, you know, at least we could do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why some people say it's harder for kids to get in baseball, because of where you're gonna play at, you know. Where
it's expensive.
It is expensive.
That was gonna be my next question. Why is it so expensive to play youth baseball and beyond?
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much as youth baseball, it is travel ball.
Travel's the monster.
So right.
Yeah.
So you've got rec league, which, you know, probably when we were growing up, and Gatwood, you would probably be able to attest to this, is really you went from a little league type organization to a pony league, and then you either went to Colt or you went into high school. Now kids at the age of 6 are going into travel ball. And so travel ball is really meant to give you a higher level of competition, a higher level of coaching. But, you know, parents are so like set on putting their kids, they robbing their kids of so much fun so early. Because, like, I've discovered throughout doing the show, we had Ben Jenkins, the owner of Warstick, a bat company, on with us, and he made a point to me that I just carry with me, is rec ball is about friends. Rec ball is about playing with your community, you know, playing with the kids you go to school with, and it's building that camaraderie, versus when you go that route of travel ball, that's where the money starts, but that's where everything starts being about that kid. And, you know, you sort of take and shift the attention away from the rest of the team. I mean, now everybody didn't do it, but that's where the money comes from, because you pay to be on the team, right? You pay for all your uniforms and everything. And then you pay an entry fee into every single tournament that you go into. And tournaments could run you anywhere from $250 for a team, or $2,500 to $3,000 for a team.
Woo.
And people pay it. I mean, that's, you know, with, you know, you've got some youth organizations out there like Perfect Game and these like premium leagues, and they advertise and they'll tell you you're going to get more views from scouts and stuff. But when you're playing at 8, like, you can't be scouted at 8. Like,
so many things happen at that age when you play baseball too. Cause my son, he's 10 right now, but he played pitcher, outfielder, shortstop. And I was like, you know, they just started putting me in pitcher, cause we were playing travel ball too. And you know, of course we play in this one tournament. They win this tournament, they get to travel to, you know, Florida or something for another tournament. It was just on and on, but they didn't quite make it that far. But I was noticing that, like, it was so many different kids on the team. They had like 4 players that played like 3 different positions on that travel ball team. So I was like, yeah, it's hard. I'm pretty sure it's hard to scout at that age.
Oh, it is.
Because they moving around so much, and you just don't know what their best skill is at what position.
Well, and you're also going to go through growth spurts. Your body's going to change so much. And, you know, one of the again, I'm learning so much. I'm my history. I'm a rec ball coach, right? I've never coached travel ball. I've been into some very heated situations on the baseball field, but in rec ball. But I mean, it's frustrating to watch some of the stuff happen. So
it is. Like I said, I've seen too many times where parents yelling at the refs. Oh, even my daughter, she plays softball, and they'll yell at the refs like, "That's how you call that a strike." Like, there was one point where a parent did get thrown out They got in a hard argument about the balls and strikes, and it was the coach's wife, and the coach he gonna get an umpire like, don't be yelling at my wife, don't be like, dude.
Oh my gosh,
it was bad. Well, like you stopped the whole game, bro, to argue strikes, balls and strikes, and then you get mad when your wife get yelled at because she arguing with the like,
listen, dude. This time last year, I was being inspired. Like I was building like information for me to start this show because I had a team and we were pretty good. We're 6U, right? So we're not counting strikes, we're not counting balls. It's just 5 pitches. And I had a family that we were playing against, our kind of like our rivals, I guess you would say. And dude, this parent like threatened our coaches, and climbed the fence. Was going to come over the fence. The head coach MF'd me right in the middle of the field, and like I was all because of a call that an umpire made, and I got excited. Like I saw that it was probably a missed call, but hey, you know what? Sometimes mistakes happen, and I'm like, yes, he was safe. And people get crazy, man. And I'll tell you, and this is. I'm a talker. I apologize, but there's an umpire shortage in this country.
Yes,
and I don't know if you've heard, but
all sports.
And it's because of situations like that.
Because of parents,
and coaches, and like the fun is just being pulled away. And we recorded earlier tonight. We had 2 kid umpires on the show. So we had Kyson, kid umpire. He's from Columbia, South Carolina. And we had Lathan, the kid umpire, and he's from Louisiana, about 30 minutes outside of Baton Rouge. And these 2 kids, one's 7 and one's 10, and their inspirations is being umpires. And like,
nice.
It's incredible. Like it's awesome to listen to these kids and their inspiration for wanting to do it. And it's, we're going to change this culture one way or another. So we just got to keep fighting.
Tell me about. After I heard how much the NFL referees make, they inspired me too.
How much do they make? I don't know.
Man, I heard like 80,000. It was a lot of money. It was like
I would think 6 figures.
Yeah, it was 6, man. I heard they predominant men, like lawyers and judges,
doctors.
The weekend thing, yeah.
Yeah, they do it in their spare time. That's why they be missing so many calls. Yeah, that's not even their real job. So let me take over that 6 figures, and I study. I'll be in that film room like Dion.
That's right. You got to scout your teams. You about to ref.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm about to ask you, which one's harder though, Coach AP, coaching or podcasting?
Podcasting probably, because there's so much background stuff that goes in, and we got a team of 4 right now, and I could use a team of 10 to keep up with everything. And so that's the challenge. But at the end of the day, they both, like, even tonight after I get finished, I go to bed with I feel like I've done something good in the world. And because I gave, we've given these kids an opportunity to talk. And same thing when I leave a baseball field is, you see kids smiling, you see them happy when they're leaving the field. And it's the same kind of concept, man. It's just keep kids being happy. They're going to have plenty of opportunities to fail in life. They're going to have plenty of opportunities to be upset. But when you're a coach, you have the ability to sort of craft things around those kids. And so, there is nothing that replaces that feeling of being that coach, though.
So as a coach, what would your motto be for younger players that you always live by, you always stick with?
Hey, just keep smiling. Keep smiling.
I love it. I love it.
As hard as it is, and I struggle. Like, I struggle with keep smiling. But I just say keep smiling because, all of these different sports are so hard to get into the professional. And baseball, like, you're going to wear a Hall of Fame jacket if you can hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. Like, that's just honestly like almost like a proven fact. It's just not written. And so that means you're going to fail 7 times out of 10. And, I see kids that are, travel ball, like you asked about travel ball, you see daddy ball happen a lot. That's a term that's thrown around a lot, is if my kid's not good enough to play on this team, I'm going to start my own team. Yeah. And that's not fair to the kids. I mean, parent thinks they're doing the right thing for their kids, but in reality, they're setting them up for failure. And that's the kind of stuff that I would tell parent. Like I would really say our show, like we want to target the kids, but we talk to the parents. Like that's
most definitely,
like that's who you got to talk to. Is parents is the ones that, adults, kids come out of the womb freaking amazing. We start causing the problems as they get older. So.
Yeah,
amen to that.
That's one. Go ahead.
I got a question. Well, two-part question. Do your kids play baseball, Coach?
I have an 8-year-old that does. Yep.
Do you coach them?
I do.
Good. I got a question for you.
Okay.
How do you balance coaching your son and the other players?
Oh, that's good.
I honestly, that's always a challenge, because if like there's been a game or two where my son's been sick and he's had to miss the game, and that's a stress-free game. My son is he's 8. He deals with a lot of anxiety, and he takes failure too hard. And my challenge as coach / father is like, I can't take the game too serious. I can't get in the car and talk about the score of the game. I can't get in the car and talk about, man, we missed that one play, because he internalizes everything that's coming out of my mouth.
Gotcha.
Whether it's got to do with him or not, he's thinking about it. So I have to really, my wife and myself both, we have to be very careful, because he's sensitive, and like it's hard. I mean, kids that are 10 years old still cry when they strike out, and and that's, my son is like this year. I mean, he only struck out 3 times total last season. I mean, he's not the most talented kid on the team. I know that. And he just hadn't found the full love for the game yet, but it's just, this year I told him, I'm like, look, we're going to come up with a strikeout dance, because if and when you do strike out, we're going to freaking grit all the way back to the dugout. we're going to do what? We're going to make a strikeout dance, just because we're going to lift this whole pressure and like cloud that this shouldn't happen. So, it's hard though. I mean, it'd be different if I, had that best kid on the team. It'd probably change my style, but you got to cater every environment around that unique individual. And so there's kids on the team that I treat like mine, like their parents trust me, and I can coach them hard, and I can coach them harder than my son.
That's good. That's good.
And then there's, like my son, I handle him a little bit differently, but I think most people would say is I don't show any favoritism. And
that's right.
That's where
make them earn it. Make them earn it. Every spot. Because because I used to coach my son's team, and I retired from that because of the parents and everything. But I do have this funny story. I know my son probably won't hate me for sharing it, but it just shows you just gotta dig in, you gotta block out the noise, you gotta just get the job done. And he's a sensitive guy too. You can't say certain things a certain way, you can't yell at him a certain way.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, it was like he played basketball too. So my son played football, baseball, and basketball. So he was playing basketball, and he let this kid drive right past him for a score. And it was a close game, like really close. It came down to one score. And so we just started yelling. We're like, play defense. No, get down. And, he just started crying, like, as we were talking to him. 'Cause I was talking from the sideline. I wasn't coach. I was just telling him, like, and the coach was yelling at him too. So he just started crying. Then, he just crying. Then he get down his defense stand, still crying. Then he get a steal. He drive down court, and he pulls up a 3 and make it, and basically won the game. We won by 1 point. And it was so funny. He made a 3, still crying, and he clapping, still crying. I was like, "You okay? You made the play. You thought about what we were saying. You made the play."
That was victory tears. That was victory tears. He knew he was going to do that before it happened.
Yes, I was like, so it taught me, talking to younger players, like they all different. And these parents gotta realize you can't handle them like grown men or grown women. Like they emotional, they listen to every word you say, so you gotta come in a certain way. And all these parents that young at the ref, young the coach, just put more pressure on their kid to excel. Cause who was that football player? I think Bosworth. I can't remember his first name, and he just talked about how everything he did was never good enough for his dad. And so I feel like a lot of parents
I
just do
feel
that for
sorry for
kids.
kids like that. Can I add
Yeah.
something to that?
Yeah, you can.
The one thing I've learned when I played football and just over the years and just going through life in general, my son he'll be 3 in February, and if he wants to play sports, I hope he does. But that'll be his decision. But if he does, I want him to understand that it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Fail and learn from the mistakes because we can correct the mistakes, but you're gonna have to trip over yourself and fail to get to where you need to be. And I think these parents are just too hard on these kids because they see the money's being thrown around nowadays in professional sports, and they're just trying to push these kids into doing something that they might not even honestly love.
Like, yeah.
In most cases, they don't. I mean,
they just try to have fun and play with their friends.
Yes.
And the parents are so wanting to live vicariously through their kids because they wasn't good enough to make. I mean, I wasn't good enough to continue on playing in college. I mean, like Atwood, but I mean, some parents just don't understand that. But then you got some parents too that, like, how dare you, get onto my kid? How dare you? He's the best one on the field. How dare those kind of situations? It's like, hey, back off, let the coaches do their job. But that again, that leads me into is, we have coaches that just get voluntold to be coaches. Sometimes you need a coach and you got to pull a coach in, and we don't do a good job of setting these coaches up for success. I mean, they can be a new coach at any age range. And, I truly believe that youth coaches, can make such a major impact on these kids' lives. And some kids don't have both of their parents. Some kids don't have either one of their parents. And so these roles become super critical. And I take that role as a coach super serious. Like,
yes, sir.
When I'm on the field, like, it is about those kids. And I don't like taking selfies. I think Ben and you and I both have shared, like, we're not that person. But out on that field, dude, I'll do whatever to make those kids laugh. If I make a fool out of myself or whatever, because, they'll follow the lead of the coach. And, like, I just want them to have fun. It's too early in their life to be stressing.
Yeah, you got that right. Because what my coaches instilled in me from high school, just thinking about high school, it stuck with me now. Like adversity, understanding, overcoming your fears, overcoming your doubts, believing in yourself.
That's it.
A lot of kids just want you to believe in them,
Yep.
and that's where you coaches come in. That's why I love your podcast, because you believe in every kid you bring on, and they get to talk about their feelings and that passion. And hopefully, like, the parents of other kids who may be pushing their kid too hard will see your show and be like, yo, maybe I need to dial it back. Maybe is they can't tell me how they feel because of what I'm doing to them. So hopefully it bring a perspective to the parents. And I just like that you giving these kids a platform, giving them a voice. That's what you're doing, giving them a voice.
Well, even the kid, and I view it as even the kids that don't have the courage to speak up to mom and dad, if they can get their parents to listen to the show, let me talk to their parents for them.
Yes.
And that's how we typically try to guide the show. Is I've coached kids that have cried their eyes out because they missed a ball. And then I walk up to the kid and I'm like, hey, it's okay. Like, forget about it. And then the first thing that kid says is, well, my mom or my dad is going to do this. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, your mom and dad ain't going to do anything right now. Like, you're okay. Because to me, I view it as, when you inside these chalk lines, you're my kid. So like, mom, dad's not coming out here to get you. And I've even had to go into the stands and tell a parent to be quiet because the kid could not concentrate and couldn't focus. And it's probably one of the hardest things I've done as a coach is to go tell a parent, I need you to stop. Like,
I hate that you have to do that.
I know, right? Like, that should be understood. Like, stop doing all that. I know
They
for
think
my
they're
son,
helping.
yeah, they not one bit. I know when my son loses, I tend not to press him. I let him soak in, what happened in the time of moment. Then I come back to him like, hey, so how you feel about the game? Just to pick his brain and see where his mindset is. I think that's
Mhm.
very important to give him space, especially after a loss. If they super competitive, it's good to give them space to to calm down, to rethink the game over, to think clearly, as I say,
Yep.
about what happened on the field. Because a lot of times, no parents soon their kid come out the field from the loss or from the court, they yell now. Like, you should have made that shot. I'm like, yo, you when you made that shot. What are you talking about?
And that's honestly, that's what the parents like. You got to separate the emotion. Like,
Yeah.
do you want the kid to get better the next game, or are you just like, is your world destroyed because of this one game? I mean,
Yeah.
and that's like Gatwood. Here's your question for you. So you played all through youth baseball into high school, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a score of a game in your 12 when you were 12? Can you tell me a score of a baseball game?
No, I cannot.
What about 16U?
Probably.
I don't remember. I played travel ball from 7th grade to 10th grade. I don't remember any of the scores or anything like that. But
Yep. You
what I
remember
can
the
say,
people you play with?
oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, the relationships. But I'd say from that 7th grade to 10th grade, we'd play travel ball. Some days we'd have 4 games in one day. It'd be 100 degrees outside. I can't tell you how many people I saw get burnt out because of that. Like burn out on playing baseball just because it's so much
Yeah.
at a young age. It's like
Yes,
your life is baseball if you play travel ball.
it is. I mean,
Mhm.
your family's life changes, like your family schedule changes. And honestly, my daughter, I got a 16-year-old daughter, and she does competition cheer, and it's the same in that. I mean,
Mhm.
cost, oh my God, like, I don't even get into talking about that one, but like it's the same kind of thing as, we have to create an environment that this sport dominates this kid's life. And, my daughter's had ups and downs. And I'm like, do you think cheerleader defines you? Like, that's not what
Exactly.
defines you in your life. Like, this is just a stage right now. That's
Mhm.
it. But
Yeah.
but Gatwood too is like you got kids now because you can play baseball all year long, and I think most sports you can these days in some shape or fashion. But like
Mm-hmm.
you got kids getting Tommy John surgery at 16,
That
18,
is, oh my
Because of
and
goodness.
travel ball.
yep, and it's because their coaches aren't putting a pitch count on them. They're not monitoring how much to throw in, and they keep using these same kids over and over, and they burn them out. And
Dang.
before they get a chance to really be successful, they may be given a gift, and they're having Tommy John surgery because like taking a season off to play basketball, taking a season off to play soccer, taking a season
Mhm.
off to play lacrosse, whatever. Like because that's we've had scouts on the team on the show. I'm sorry, we've had scouts, and the first thing a scout's going to tell you is what other sports have you played? Like how much of an athlete are you?
Mm.
Because your body gets used to the same movement over and over again, and when your body can adjust to different, I mean, passing a basketball, for example, that's a
Mhm.
totally different movement
Yes.
than anything that you would do in
Mhm.
baseball, but it builds your body to be an athlete, not just a
Mhm.
baseball player. And that's a struggle too. I mean, some parents
Mm.
think if they take a season off, their kid's going to be behind.
Nah. They get caught up. The coach get them. If the coach is really good, they gonna get him caught up in practice and everything else. Cause my son, like I said, he wasn't really a baseball player. He just decided one day, like, yeah, I get baseball try. And
Yep.
3 years in, he's still playing. So it's just like he didn't know nothing about it. They worked because I think how he started playing, his friend invited him into practice. There was like a Wrigley or something. And so they had him run the bases. They're like, Dad, he's fast. Like, can you hit? Like
Like Major
so
League
yeah, like
Wesley
basically like
Snipes.
cause he played football. They're like, can you hit? And they taught him how to hit and everything. And as
Talking
they
about
asked him to play travel ball.
playing other sports, that was the best thing for me, like the off season, because I played football too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like when I got to rest my arm for baseball because I was pitching throughout the year. and then getting to play football, I could rest my arm. That was always good. I think that's why my arm was always healthy.
Yeah, because you start wearing on that shoulder, and your body's not fully developed yet, and some kids don't even work out. Like I mean, seriously, we got kids that play travel ball that can't do 10 push-ups, and and that's when I like look back at the parent. I'm like, what are you pushing them for here specifically? Like, get these kids' bodies in shape. If you're going to put them through this routine, your body's got to be able to handle it, and then make sure they eat properly. They get enough protein. Kids these days are eating freaking chicken McNuggets, and ain't no damn protein in that. So, like, you got to
my
let
son
these.
cereal.
Yeah, well,
that's all he want to eat is cereal.
At least he's getting milk. At least he's getting milk. So,
number cereal. Like, dude, we got some chicken over here. Like, I don't get a bowl of cereal. Like, bro, eat this chicken.
these fruity pebbles.
Yeah, like his favorite is cinnamon crunch toast.
Oh,
okay. Toast crunch.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that's probably why he's addicted. But let me ask you this question, Coach, before we come to a close.
Yeah.
Do you have any interesting story about why you coaching or on the podcast that you have done?
Oh man, I would say what's the most memorable so far? I think honestly, so our third episode, like this is when I'm in I refer it to when there's a car accident. You see lawyers chasing after the accident, like it's like a reporters, right? So I see this lady's picture posted on Facebook, and she's got this huge black eye, and I start reading, and it's an umpire in Mississippi, and she got hit after a game because she made a call. She made a call at second base. Lady in the stands did not agree with the call. She started threatening the umpire. So the umpire, Pridmore, asked the coach to get the lady out. He wouldn't. So anyway, the authorities finally get the lady out. And after the game, Christy's walking out to her car, and this lady comes running up and just clocks her right in her face. And like I'm talking, dude, I can send you the picture, but her she messed with some nerves in her face and all kind of stuff. So I reached out to the lady because that was like, oh my gosh, this is serious. And I got her, and I was like, holy crap. And so that was our first big, where we had a lot of people listening. And a week after she was on our show, she was on Tucker Carlson. She was on the Today Show, and she got they flew her out to Denver to speak at an officiating conference, and that was pretty cool though. I mean, just hearing her story, being inspired by it. But every show's got that little moment where you're like, I hope people hear that, and and that was probably the one where I felt like we got a little bit of attention, and but I mean, Christy and I still stay in contact, and that was probably the show that was like, wow, this we're on to something a little bit, and keep pushing. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome, Coach.
Man, I'm proud of you, Coach AP. You was our first guest on the show, and it was just we always stayed in touch, with liking each other posts or sharing it or just coming here and there. And that's what podcasting all about, is just building bonds with other podcasters, man. Just picking each other's brain and see what's working, what's not working.
Well, hey, you know what? You'll have to get your son on the show.
Oh, most definitely. I talk to him. He kind of shy, but I'm kind of encouraging him. See that step out there.
Hey, sometimes, man, we have kids that I think that's going to light up the microphone and give us all of this stuff, and they clam up. And then, sometimes we got kids that's just like tonight. One of the kids that we had tonight, man, he was over the top, full of himself, and man, he has some swag. So
what I might do is I might come on the show with him and try to ease him into
that'd make him more comfortable, probably.
Yeah, make him more comfortable.
Do that.
Right there beside him.
He's a jokester. Like everybody know it. He's wild. He's a jokester, but when he come in front of people he don't know, he kind of like go in his shell. I'm like, bro, show your real side, man. Be acting all crazy like you do around the house.
Well,
So,
hey, look, if we want to, schedule like an off-call Zoom and something, like we can get to know each other. Like I've done that with a few kids just to get them used to being like there with me. And then, hopefully we can ease them into it. But yeah, I mean, every single kid out there's got a story, whether they're playing baseball, basketball, football, whatever, or in drama. I mean, they got a story. And I think every kid deserves to have their story told. So
that's
send them
awesome.
all.
All right, I'll talk to him
That's cool.
tonight. Actually, I know I'm trying to picture in my mind he's gonna be ecstatic. You're like, nah, but we're gonna see. I'll talk to him.
Yeah. Hey, we just come on chat. We just come
Yeah.
on and chat. That's all it is. So
That sounds good. Well, before we let you go, I do want to ask you one more thing though. Tua is out. He's not playing in a playoff game. He's out.
I can't believe it.
Is that official?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah.
Dang.
So
Man,
what's your hopes for your Dolphins right now?
hey, survive. Right now, survive. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, we had that 5-game win streak. We were running right through everyone, and I've been a Dolphins fan since Marino was playing, and I never seen the Dolphins just beat down some teams like they were doing, and then just to see it just deflate, and it's rough. I don't know. I was hoping that McDaniels was gonna surprise us this week and say Tua's back, but to some degree, look, I want the guy to be healthy. Like this guy he's been punished this year a little bit. Some of them hits he took, that one against Cincinnati was brutal. And I don't know. You and RC asked me in the first episode, who am I riding with, Tua, Lamar? For most of the entire season, I was like, I was right. That's right. But I mean, I still love Tua, man. I still got to ride with Tua for now. But hey, you know what? If Lamar ends up South Beach next year, I'm pulling for whoever QB1 is.
That's right.
Whoever takes over next year, if Tua come back healthy, y'all still gonna be right there. Y'all still gonna be right there. Y'all have a good team, and so
hey, Tyreek's made a believer out of me.
Yeah,
And Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle. I gotta give me a Waddle jersey, cause that kid is special.
I like Waddle.
That kid.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, when he catches it and those legs start to spread, like he's off to the races. There ain't no catching Waddle. Like
that might be the best duo in the game.
Yeah, you talking about speed? Like I bet them DBs like, dang, I didn't know he was this fast. Like it just. When he catch the ball, he just make one move and he gone off to the races. So
here's my prediction though for the off season is we got to fire Josh Boyer, the defensive coordinator, because I put a lot of this on him because last year we saw the same type defense. We had good players, we just couldn't get any pressure, and then Flores after like mid-season, I think it was like he made the announcement he was taking over some of the defense. That's when the defense changed. Like that's when they went to the Ravens that week, shut Lamar Jackson down. And I think honestly, removing Flores from, I think he was a handicap for Josh Boyer. So I think Boyer needs to leave. We bring in somebody energetic like McDaniels, and I think we'll be all right. So
because
I'm gonna tell you, McDaniels is great.
Oh,
I love him at Daniels. But did you think that report was crazy though? I heard that the Dolphins were considering firing him if he didn't make the playoffs. You think that was too far? Like
that'd been stupid.
That was.
I'm gonna tell you,
over the top.
I don't think there was any truth to that. I can't believe it. If there is, like, I'm a full believer in Stephen Ross needs to step away from the team. Like, get it out of his family. I think he turned over like rights to his daughter or something, but like, he just needs to stay away from the team because all he ever does is cause drama. I mean, trying to recruit Harbaugh when we still had Tony Soprano and then losing him and then keeping him, like, you just don't do people like that. And then last year, the whole Deshaun Watson back and forth, like
Sean Payton.
You don't do that. So, God bless Tua for living through it, though.
I hope he come back strong next year, man. I hope he does. All right, Coach. So. All right, Coach. You have any social media platforms you like people to follow?
Yeah. You'll find us on Facebook, S.L.I.D.E Podcast. You'll find us on all the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, the S.L.I.D.E Podcast Show, and TikTok. Well, yeah, TikTok as well. So everybody go follow us on TikTok. That's where we're trying to gain. So
yeah.
I
All
can't.
right.
Yeah.
I definitely add you on TikTok. I didn't know you was on there, so I'll
I
make
am.
sure to do that.
Man, Coach.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys.
You
Appreciate
welcome. Hey,
you,
I'll put
Coach.
all the links in the
Pleasure.
show notes to find so people can find you.
Thank you. Hey,
All
thank
right,
you
man.
guys for the opportunity, man. And you guys have fun and keep rocking.
You
Thank
too,
you,
Coach.
Coach.
Appreciate
You
your
too,
time.
man.
Talk to you later.
All right. See you guys.